Imagine a professional earning a six-figure salary. He lives in a major city, holds a great degree, and does everything right on paper. Yet every month feels like a precarious balancing act. The stress never actually goes away, it just scales up. He is trapped in an invisible cycle where earning more money somehow makes it harder to keep up. When that highly anticipated promotion finally arrives, a strange sequence of events follows. The apartment gets upgraded, a newer car replaces the old, weekend dinners out become standard, and subscriptions quietly multiply. None of these decisions feel reckless in the moment. Each one feels like a well-deserved reward for working hard. This flowchart illustrates exactly what happens next. The central node represents that new, higher income. But notice how quickly it divides, draining outward into dozens of smaller, red expense nodes. Before a single dollar can accumulate as savings or investments, the new lifestyle upgrades instantly absorb the entire surplus. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. Your brain quickly normalizes better circumstances. Notice the proportional expansion here. As the income grows, the expenses expand to match it perfectly, leaving the surplus at zero. The dream apartment becomes just your apartment. The higher paycheck becomes your new baseline. The increase in happiness fades, but the higher monthly costs are locked in. Asking for another raise seems like the logical fix. If you can just earn a little more water, surely the bucket will finally fill up. But adding more income addresses the wrong variable. A larger paycheck fed into a system designed to spend it will always yield the same result, an empty bank account at the end of the month. Building wealth is a system engineering problem. Higher salaries cannot overcome a flawed default human operating system. Until you re-engineer how the money flows after it arrives, it doesn't matter if you make $40,000 a year or $400,000. To understand where the system breaks down, we have to look past the annual salary and focus on the micro level of a single dollar. Think of your finances as a bucket of water. Most people are completely focused on the hose filling the bucket, entirely ignoring the holes at the bottom. Those holes are tiny, daily micro-decisions. A forgotten streaming service, food delivery fees, the daily coffee order, paying slightly more for convenience. Individually, these transactions appear completely harmless. Nobody goes bankrupt over a single latte. But repeated thousands of times over a year, they quietly drain significant wealth. This split-screen graph shows exactly why it is so difficult to plug those leaks. We are fighting millions of years of evolution. On the left side, you see a sharp spike representing the immediate neurological reward of buying something today. On the right, a flat line representing the emotional response to a delayed reward 20 years from now. This evolutionary bug is called present bias. The human brain naturally prioritizes immediate emotional relief over long-term security. That bias is exactly what billion-dollar corporate marketing engines exploit. They study human psychology to trigger purchases precisely when you are most vulnerable. Stress, boredom, and social comparison are weaponized through notifications and limited-time offers. They are designed to make you act before logic can intervene. Consequently, every impulse purchase requires a trade-off. The true cost is never the number printed on the price tag. A $200 purchase costs you $200 today, but it also costs you the decades of compound interest that money could have earned if you left it alone. Every dollar spent today is the permanent sacrifice of a future asset. It is the emergency fund that never grew. It is the high-interest debt that stayed unpaid. Every transaction is a choice between funding your current lifestyle or buying your future freedom. Even if you master daily spending, there is a silent machine operating in the background of everyday life, constantly collecting money from millions of people. High-interest consumer debt slowly dismantles wealth, stripping away your resources while offering the illusion of purchasing power. The mechanical reality of a credit card is that it forces you to spend tomorrow's paycheck today. When tomorrow finally arrives, you are already behind your own timeline. You are no longer paying for goods or services. You are paying a premium simply for the privilege of accessing money you hadn't earned yet. To stop working for money, you have to transition to the opposite side of that equation. This line chart plots a flat horizontal line representing a static, uninvested $1 million lump sum over a 30-day period. Without compound growth, $1 million is just a decaying pile of cash waiting to be spent. Now, watch what happens when we plot a single penny that doubles every day. Notice the second exponential curve. It starts near zero and remains practically flat for the first 20 days. But by day 30, the math violently curves upward, completely dwarfing the original $1 million flatline. That is the mechanical power of compounding interest. Most people fail to harness this power because human psychology is addicted to visible, immediate progress. Compounding starts out incredibly slow. Watching an investment grow by a few dollars a month doesn't provide the rush of buying a new car. It feels too slow to matter, so people abandon the strategy long before the math takes over. Achieving actual financial momentum requires a complete change in behavior. You must transition from working strictly to generate income to forcing a portion of that income to produce its own autonomous returns. Because you cannot rely on willpower to fight human psychology, there is only one reliable way to defeat present bias and emotional spending. You have to remove the decision-making entirely. You apply an automation patch to your financial life. You configure your systems to execute the right behaviors silently in the background. Savings, investments, and debt reduction are scheduled to transfer automatically the moment your paycheck clears. By the time you check your available balance, the money required to secure your future is already gone. This brings us to a final test of what wealth actually means. Imagine a massive net worth tied to a high-stress career you despise. If you are weighed down by obligations, heavy mortgages, and the constant pressure to maintain a luxury lifestyle, a high net worth is meaningless. It is indistinguishable from wearing heavy chains. The actual utility of money is not the acquisition of luxury goods or status symbols to impress strangers. It is the purchasing of options. Money buys time. It buys the power to decline unwanted obligations. It buys the ability to walk away from a bad job or survive an unexpected emergency without panic. Think about your own financial journey up to this point. What is the biggest financial lesson you wish someone had taught you a decade earlier? Let me know in the comments below. We read them all, and they directly shape where we take this channel. In our next episode, we are going to look at the macro side of this equation. We'll explore the systemic reasons why the middle class keeps shrinking, despite working longer hours than ever before. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss the numbers behind that story. True wealth is the absolute peace of mind that comes from a resilient, automated system. It is reaching the point where your money is quietly working so well on its own that you are finally free to stop thinking about it entirely.